Yo, what's going on, guys? How's it going? Uh, Today we got something a little different. Um, I got a I got a little bit before I gotta go into work, so I decided I'm gonna record a reaction video real quick. This is the first reaction video I recorded by myself, so let's freaking get it.
It seems to be a yearly tradition now for Lucasfilm to reveal new TIE Fighter variants to the canon roster. Thanks to Star Wars Rebels, The Last Jedi, and Solo: A Star Wars Story, we have quite a few new models to talk about, so let's get to it. Starting with the basics is, of course, the TIE Fighter. They were the standard starfighter of the Galactic Empire and the template on which all the following variants were based.
So, TIE Fighter. I do not have a regular TIE Fighter in the Lego fleet. If y'all would like to see a Lego TIE Fighter, let me know down in the comments. I bet.
Armed with two laser cannons, they were fast and maneuverable but lacked shielding or hyperdrives. Cheap to make and easy to destroy, they were the epitome of Imperial expendability. Iden Versio had a lightly modified TIE fighter that carried upgraded weapons. The heavy TIE fighter was meant to compensate for the fragility of the unshielded TIE fighters with reinforced armor and much more powerful laser cannons installed on an extra housing pod. The TIE Advanced V1 was an experimental model that was far less expendable than the standard TIE. It provided the pilot with shields and a hyperdrive. In addition, the solar panels that powered the ship were on the inside of the wings rather than the outside like the standard TIE. This meant the Advanced was more heavily armored, but the solar panels couldn't.
This looks like it was in Star Wars Rebels. But I do not remember seeing that TIE fighter in the show. Gotta go rewatch it.
Soak up as much light. Therefore, the panels only powered the weapons, sensors, and auxiliary systems, and the ship required the engines to run on fuel. The wings also had S-foils that could fold around the cockpit, saving hangar space. The TIE Advanced X1 was the next step up from the V1. It also had shields and a hyperdrive, but no S-foils, and the solar panels were put back on the outside. Its biggest upgrade was in the targeting system, which was highly sophisticated and effective against enemy deflector shields. As of right now, only Darth Vader's personal TIE Advanced X1 has been seen. The TIE Bomber was the Empire's main source of anti-emplacement air.
It's crazy because for a while, I'm not even gonna lie, I thought that the TIE Bomber was the ship that Darth Vader flew. But anyway, back to the video.
Support. They could be seen throughout the galaxy as soon as a decade after the end of the Clone Wars. Like the standard TIE, they carried no shields or hyperdrive. Their bombing bay could be armed with concussion missiles, orbital mines, or proton bombs. You might have seen a ship that looked like a TIE bomber in Rogue One, but those models were actually TIE boarding shuttles. Instead of a bombing bay, the second hull was able to transport and deploy an entire company of stormtroopers. One can also be briefly seen in The Empire Strikes Back delivering Captain Needa to the Executor. The shuttles have also been called TIE Landers, but that may be a specific version meant for atmosphere rather than ship-to-ship travel. The TIE Interceptor was even faster and more maneuverable than the standard TIE, making it one of the fastest starfighters in the galaxy at the time. Still lacking shields and a hyperdrive, it made up for its defensive shortcomings by focusing on offense. 4 laser cannons were mounted to the wings, and some models had 2 additional installed on the cockpit itself. The Interceptor entered production after the Empire realized the Advanced X1 would be too costly to mass produce. By the time of the Battle of Endor, the starfighter made up about 20% of the Empire's fleet. The TIE Defender was another experimental design that went into development on Lothal about 2 years.
I remember playing Star Wars Battlefront. I don't remember if it was 1 or 2 on the PSP 3000, I think is what it was. And this was my favorite ship to fly, dude. I loved this. I loved it so much.
Before the Battle of Yavin. They had shields and a hyperdrive, 6 laser cannons mounted on 3 wings, and a missile launcher. They were produced at the request of Grand Admiral Thrawn as a response to the more heavily defended starfighters used by the growing rebel threat. An even stronger version was built called the TIE Defender Elite. It was faster, had more durable shields, a better hyperdrive, and a warhead launcher that could fire up to 6 missiles. Unfortunately for the Empire, the factories on Lothal were shut down by an attack made by the rebel Phoenix Squadron. Yet another experimental fighter, the TIE Striker, was a specialized TIE variant designed for atmospheric flight, although it could fly in space. Its large central pod meant it could be used to transport supplies or personnel from orbit to the ground, or it could serve as a proton bombing bay. Within atmosphere, the Striker was faster and more heavily armed than the standard TIE. The wings could rotate between flight mode and attack mode. They were primarily built on Scarif, and after the Citadel's destruction, they were a rare sight in the galaxy. However, some Strikers were mentioned serving during the Battle of Jakku at the end of the Galactic Civil War. The TIE Reaper was a larger but similar design to the TIE Striker. It was primarily used as a troop transport, but little else is currently known about the ship.
Nice.
Scion Fleet Systems also provided organizations that fell under the umbrella of the Empire with their own TIE fighters. For example, the Mining Guild received a specialized TIE fighter design with a yellow color scheme and a notch cut out of their stabilizers, which improved their visibility but diminished their maneuverability. Jumping about 30 years into the future, the First Order still used TIE fighters in their starfighter fleet. Their standard TIE model now had shields by default. They received upgraded engines and a darker paint job, but they were otherwise very similar to the standard TIE of the Empire. The First Order also produced a Special Forces variant of the TIE fighter. This model had a hyperdrive as well as shields. They held 2 seats,
That thing was really freaking cool.
one for a pilot and one for a gunner. In addition to the normal 2 laser cannons, a dual heavy laser turret was mounted underneath the cockpit as well as a mag-pulse warhead launcher. Finally, the TIE Silencer was a First Order ship that followed in the experimental footsteps of the Empire's TIE prototypes. It was a one-of-a-kind ship piloted by Kylo Ren that had shields, a hyperdrive, 4 laser cannons, and 2 missile launchers. It was classified as a hybrid fighter bomber. As of right now, that's every canon TIE model. If you haven't seen my Legends version of this video, you can watch.
Thank you, Star Wars Explained. Make sure y'all go check out all the rest of his videos and everything they put out. I watch a lot of their videos in my free time, so yeah, they're great, and love the video. My favorite TIE is definitely the TIE Silencer. I want a Lego set of it so bad. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like the video, make sure you leave a like on the video, sub to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when I post my videos, and have a great day. Peace.